Hi everyone, welcome to This Monstrous Life. I'm Frank Dietz, and let's talk about frogs. As promised, this video will be talking about the movie from 1972 from American International Pictures, Frogs. And I really want to talk about this movie because, number one, recently the Los Angeles Zoo released a whole bunch of frogs that were previously endangered into the wild, a whole lot of them. And that got me thinking about this movie, and I think this is a just hilarious movie. Um, it's so weird, and I really wanted to talk about it because there's many weird aspects to it that some of them I had never noticed. I saw the movie in 1972 or 1973 at the local movie theater matinee show, where I saw a lot of horror movies back then. And and frogs really appealed to me because I've always been interested in reptiles of all kind: alligators, snakes, lizards, turtles, tuataras, the one no one talks about. And this movie is loaded with them. Now, the movie is about a family down in, I guess it's Florida, because I know that's where they filmed the movie. They're rich, they're entitled, they are run by Ray Milland as Jason Crockett, who is this kind of cantankerous old, he's not a bigot, really, but he kind of hates everybody. So he's not a very nice guy. And his family is awful. I don't think any of them like each other much, and he doesn't like them. And he apparently owned companies that created a lot of pollution. And their mansion sits on a swamp. So one day, when two of the adult children are out in a speedboat, they knock over a wildlife photographer in a canoe. He is played by Sam Elliott, pre-fabulous mustache. And so to make up for it, they invite him to come to the 4th of July party. A 4th of July movie. So that's one you can always put on your list for 4th of July viewings. He comes to their party, and he really just wants to get out of there, but they keep insisting that he stay, and he's kind of attracted to the granddaughter, who's played by Joan Van Ark, who went on to do television soap operas, primetime soap operas. Anyway, while they're there, all of a sudden, they start getting attacked one by one by all forms of reptiles and creepy crawlies, etc. Sam Elliott thinks that it might be nature's way of striking back against the polluters of the world. But Ray Milland will have none of it. He's grouchy, and he says, "We're going to stay here and we're going to have a party." And he's Ray Milland at one point, was a very, very respected actor. He won an Oscar, I think, for what was it, The Lost Weekend, a movie about an alcoholic. But like at this point in his career, he was pretty much taking any gig that paid well, and or paid at all, probably more like it. And Frogs is one of those movies. It was around this time that he made the movie The Thing with Two Heads, which was also an American international picture, and that's where he played a bigot who has his head transplanted onto the body of Rosie Greer, and they have to work together to solve the issue of having two heads.
Hell! Shut up!
So, one by one, the members of the family start getting picked off by all kinds of creatures. Your lizards, snakes, turtles, alligators, spiders, you name it. One of the curious things about this movie is that the movie is called Frogs, and there are almost no frogs in the movie. There's maybe two that I could count, but the rest of them are toads. And it makes sense if you think about it, because if you've ever held a frog, you know that they're wet and they're I don't want to say slimy. That sounds insulting, but they're wet and they're slippery. Good word. They're slippery, so they're hard to handle. But toads, on the other hand, are very dry and bumpy, and probably just a lot easier for the animal handlers to work with. So that's why it's mostly toads. I think I saw 2 frogs right at the very end of the movie, but the rest of them are all toads. So that's one of the weird things about it, is that why didn't they call the movie Toads if they're all going to be toads, or anything else, reptiles? I don't know. Maybe frogs was determined to be just a better keyword or something, right? So that's basically the plot. They're trying to get off the island while all the critters are killing them one by one. Now, another weird thing about the movie, and this is something I had not noticed when I saw the movie before, and I've seen the movie quite a few times over the years. The movie has no score to it. There's no music. And I wonder if perhaps the director, his name was George McCowan, decided not to have a music score and just to use the constant croaking of the frogs as sort of the background music. Because it's mentioned many times in the film that how the croaking of the frogs is driving everybody nuts. So that might be it. Or maybe they just wanted to save money and didn't want to pay a composer. Could go either way there. But another weird aspect of the movie. In a way, it does help. It gives it a kind of a creepy atmosphere. It's like the original Frankenstein, 1931, has no score. And I think that it works in its favor there. Whether or not it works in its favor here in Frogs, that's debatable, depending on if you think it's a good movie or not such a good movie. Also very debatable. Okay, so the next weird thing is, if you watch the trailer for Frogs, you will see the character who is called Aunt Iris in the film. She's a butterfly collector, and she goes out into the swamp to catch a butterfly that she's seen. In the trailer, they show her fall into quicksand, and that's how she dies in the trailer. Okay? In the actual movie, she never enters the quicksand pit. She does fall into a little like pond, and she comes up with leeches on her that she has to rip off of her skin. And that's kind of creepy and weird. But then she gets bitten by a rattlesnake and dies from the rattlesnake poison. But I think it's so interesting that they clearly shot 2 death scenes for her. One with the quicksand and one with the rattlesnake. I just think it's kind of odd that the one with the quicksand ends up in the trailer and the one with the rattlesnake ends up in the actual finished feature film. Questions I don't think anybody can answer. Maybe Sam Elliott, he's still around, right? Let's see, what else? Yes. So the frogs in the movie, or toads, don't really kill anybody, all right? They're sort of just everywhere. They're just sort of like they're as if they were the commanders of all the other reptiles that are killing. You can understand being worried about a rattlesnake, a cottonmouth snake, a copperhead snake. These are all very venomous reptiles, or alligators. Alligators, are dangerous. I know. I've wrestled them. Lizards and turtles, not really so much. One of the characters is attacked by an alligator snapping turtle. Now, alligator snapping turtles are really big, right? They get up to like 150 pounds, but they don't move very fast. They're very slow because they don't need to move fast, because the way they catch their prey is by lying under a pond with their mouths open, and in their mouth is a little like appendage that looks like a worm, and the fish will come in thinking it's a worm. They'll go to bite it, and boom. So in this movie, they have the one character. She gets her foot stuck in the shallow water of the pond, and the alligator snapping turtle very slowly heads toward her. And we never actually see the attack. It happens off screen, but I'm not exactly sure what the snapping turtle would do other than snap like at her shin or something. So it's kind of ridiculous. And another character dies because he goes into the greenhouse, and the lizards in the greenhouse start pushing toxic chemicals off the shelf. And when they hit the floor and they smash, and the chemicals mix together and it creates a poison mist. So these lizards are smart enough to know which chemicals to shove off that shelf so that when they mix together, they'll create a lethal mist. Not only are the animals angry because of all the pollution, but they also know chemistry. So that's pretty impressive, right? One guy gets killed by spiders, which brings up another point, which they are tarantulas, which are very commonly used in movies because they're very easy to work with. However, they are not really indigenous to southern Florida, not like they are in the deserts and places out west. Not only that, but a lot of the lizards you see in the movie come from South America, come from India, come from Africa. There's a tokay gecko in there. It's certainly not a lizard commonly found in Florida. There's an Asian water monitor, which are big, big, big lizards, but pretty harmless. Most of them are very docile. I guess it's just a matter of what kind of critters were they able to get that were easily manipulated for the camera. So, I mean, I understand all these things. I've been in the movie business for a while now. So I get it, but I still think that it's kind of funny that nobody really ever questions it, right? The last thing I want to talk about is just something that just cracks me up. At the very end of the movie, the 4 survivors are trying to get away from the mansion. They walk out to the road, and a station wagon is driving by, and they wave the station wagon down. Meanwhile, Sam Elliott is holding a rifle in his hand. Now, I ask you, if you see people on the side of the road and one of them has a rifle, are you going to pull over and give them a ride? I don't think so. Now, maybe, they do say they do things different in Florida, so. But, and the woman had a child in the car also. Obviously, not smart choices being made down there in 1972. Overall, Frogs is just a lot of fun. It's dumb as can be, but it's fun. And if you're a reptile lover like me, just watching all the different reptiles and pointing out like what kind they are and where do they really come from and so forth is a lot of fun to do. When it comes down to just good old-fashioned Nature Strikes Back movies, Frogs is definitely up on my list. So go check out Frogs. Probably not too hard to find. And do me a favor, if you like this video, please like it and also subscribe. I'm getting more subscribers almost every day, and this is really fun, and I'm going to keep on doing it as long as I'm around. So until next time, I'm Frank Dietz. This is This Monstrous Life, and I hope to see you again. All right? Out.